made deals. The dark gates closed on others. For his warning that Deng might become a new dictator, Wei Jingsheng was framed and sentenced to 15 years. He was still in prison when the students came to Tiananmen in 1989 to demand democracy. Few of them knew his story.
In China, if you wanted to express your opinions, you had to speak from within the Communist Party. If you talked outside, they'd throw you in jail. The only option for a pure idealist is to commit suicide. I once wrote an essay entitled, "Commit Suicide and Save the Country." Of course, it didn't pass the censors. I'd completely lost faith in the Communist Party. I thought the only workable thing was to join up and try and change it. Committing suicide myself wouldn't do the country much good. A more useful thing to do was to help the Communist Party commit suicide. Lenin had taught us that the easiest way to take a fortress is from within. There's also the Trojan horse in ancient Greece. If you can't win through confrontation, you have to try sneaking inside. That someone like myself could join the party was because cracks had already appeared. Before Deng's reforms, someone like me would never have been let in.
Now begins the grand mass parade to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China.
By 1984, when the People's Republic marked its 35th anniversary, there was something new to celebrate: the success of Deng Xiaoping's reforms. Once, Deng had been purged by Mao for his disobedience. Now, Deng was no longer under the great teacher's shadow. He could make his own plans, and he had the power to execute them. He would be called the Grand Architect of Reform. By Deng's side were his loyal ministers, Hu Yabong, Zhao Ziyang, men given the task of reform, men who could also be blamed when reform went too far. Some students in the parade raised a homemade banner greeting Deng by his first name. Hello, Xiaoping, an unheard of liberty. People were genuinely grateful to Deng.
China's industry is advancing toward modernization. Like agriculture, it will soon be carried forward on the wave of reform.
The early reforms brought quick and dramatic change. In the countryside, communes were broken up. Rural markets were revived. Farmers started to make money. There was a lot more money to be made. The old men in charge were changing China. The results were going to be seen everywhere. After decades of relative isolation, China was looking outward to the world. Just ahead, all the enticements of capitalism beckoned.
Our life is getting better and better. The light industry float shows how life is becoming more colorful as our living standards rise.
The National Day celebrations in 1984 were an elaborate, enthusiastic affair.